Welcome back to NASM CPT exam prep. This is Chapter 20 of 20, Professional Development and Responsibility. Today's lesson is developing a successful personal training business. We'll cover business models, marketing basics, professional conduct, and continuing education. This is the final lesson in the course. Let's get into it. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to do 4 things. First, compare common business models available to personal trainers. Second, identify foundational marketing and client retention levers. Third, explain why liability insurance and informed consent matter professionally. And fourth, describe what's required to maintain an active NASM CPT certification. Let's build these one at a time. Let's talk about how trainers actually get paid. Gym or studio employee, set hours, often benefits, less control over rates and schedule. Independent contractor, sets their own rates and schedule, handles their own taxes and insurance. Studio or business owner, most control and most risk and overhead. Here's an important framing. There's no universally best model. The right choice depends on a trainer's risk tolerance, desire for schedule control, and career stage. Think of this as a decision framework, not a ranking. Now let's talk about building a client base. Referrals. Existing clients are usually the strongest source of new ones. Niche positioning. Specializing sharpens marketing messages and referrals. Content and social media. Sharing expertise builds trust before a client ever books. And retention. Keeping an existing client costs far less effort than acquiring a new one. Here's a direct connection worth making. This ties directly back to the coaching techniques you covered in Lesson 19. ORs and SMART goals aren't just coaching tools, they're retention tools with direct business value. Let's close the loop on scope of practice. Liability insurance protects a trainer financially if a client is injured or claims injury. Informed consent and scope of practice. Every referral boundary from this course, medical, nutrition, supplements, mental health, is a professional responsibility. Continuing education units, or CEUs, required to maintain an active NASM CPT certification plus a recertification fee. This table is really designed to call back every scope of practice moment across the whole course. Lesson 6's medical referral, Lesson 16's posture and pain referral, Lesson 17's nutrition referral, Lesson 18's supplement referral, and Lesson 19's mental health referral. All of it comes together right here. One important reminder before we move on. CEU requirements, recertification fees, and insurance requirements can change and vary by employer or region. Always confirm current figures directly on NASM's official website before making business decisions based on them. This is really about building a habit, checking primary sources for anything involving money or certification status. Let's check your understanding. Question: which business model gives a trainer the most control over rates and schedule, but the least built-in stability? Take a second and think it through. The correct answer is independent contractor. Here's why. Independent contractors set their own rates and schedule, but they're responsible for their own taxes, insurance, and client acquisition, trading stability for control. One more question. What is required to maintain an active NASM CPT certification over time? Pause and think back to the requirements we just covered. The correct answer is earning CEUs and paying a recertification fee. Here's why. Maintaining an active NASM CPT certification requires earning CEUs within each certification cycle and paying a recertification fee. Let's bring it all together. There are 3 business models: employee, independent contractor, and studio or business owner. Referrals, Niche positioning, content, and retention are the core client acquisition levers. Liability insurance and informed consent are professional and legal responsibilities. Every scope of practice boundary from this course is part of a trainer's broader professional responsibility. And CEUs and recertification keep a NASM CPT certification active. Confirm specifics directly with NASM. Congratulations! This is the final summary slide of the entire 20-lesson course. Before sitting the real exam, revisit any lesson where your knowledge check score was lowest. You've completed all 20 lessons of the NASM CPT exam prep syllabus. That's a real accomplishment. Take a moment to recognize it. One last piece of advice. Revisit any lesson where your knowledge check score was lowest before exam day. Good luck out there.